Today, cryptocurrencies are rebounding from Wednesday's pullback. President Trump pardons Binance founder Changpeng Zhao, and Georgios Vlachos, the co-founder of the Axelar Network, breaks down what's driving crypto's recent volatility. Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Talia Kaplan. Digital currencies are back in the green this morning, looking to rebound from yesterday's pullback. By noon Eastern, Bitcoin rose to the $109,000 mark, while Ether traded at $3,878. XRP was also in the green, rising to $2.41. Okay, let's talk about the top stories. President Trump has pardoned Binance founder Changpeng Zhao. The White House said in a statement today that, quote, President Trump exercised his constitutional authority by issuing a pardon for Mr. Zhao, who was prosecuted by the Biden administration in their war on cryptocurrency. CZ pleaded guilty to enabling money laundering on the Binance platform and agreed to step down from his post as CEO as part of a massive $4.3 billion settlement with the Department of Justice back in 2023. In April 2024, he was sentenced to just 4 months in jail, while federal prosecutors asked for 3 years. Then, in May of 2025, the Wall Street Journal reported that CZ was helping World Liberty Financial in its global expansion, something that World Liberty and Changpeng Zhao denied. Now, just after today's pardon was announced, Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren said in a statement, quote, First, Changpeng Zhao pleaded guilty to a criminal money laundering charge. Then he boosted one of Donald Trump's crypto ventures and lobbied for a pardon. Today, Donald Trump did his part and pardoned him. If Congress does not stop this kind of corruption and pending market structure legislation, it owns this lawlessness. Next, crypto executives met with lawmakers this week, pushing to pass market structure legislation before year-end, even as the government shutdown drags on. Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong was at the Capitol yesterday and spoke with CNBC's Emily Wilkins about how those conversations went.
Well, we had great meetings with the Democrats in the Senate and on the Republican side today, and the good news is that there's strong bipartisan support and will to get this market structure legislation done. It's important for America, and the 50 million Americans who've used crypto want to see it get done. And so one date we heard floated was, let's try to get this markup done before Thanksgiving. I think that there's 90% of the issues are already aligned on and agreed, and there's draft text going back and forth, a lot of great cross-functional collaboration happening. That last 10% are the remaining issues, and everyone committed to get in the room together and work it out, and hopefully we'll see some draft text or get it out of committee by Thanksgiving.
We also spoke with Chainlink co-founder Sergey Nazarov yesterday about the meetings with lawmakers on Capitol Hill. You can check out that interview over at cnbc.com/cryptoworld. And last, Canada's AML supervisor fined crypto exchange Zeltox, operating as CryptoMiss, more than 176 million Canadian dollars. That's around 126 million US dollars. According to the Financial Transactions and Reports Analysis Center of Canada, or FINTRAC, CryptoMiss failed to submit suspicious transaction reports for transactions where there were reasonable grounds to suspect that they were related to the laundering of proceeds connected to trafficking in child sexual abuse material, fraud, ransomware, and sanctions evasions. According to the regulator, the crypto platform also failed to report receipt of transactions worth 10,000 Canadian dollars or more on more than 1,500 occasions in July of 2024. All right, back to markets for our main story. I spoke with Georgios Vlachos, the co-founder of the Axelar Network, about what's driving crypto's recent volatility. You helped create the Axelar Network and are the director of the Axelar Foundation, a nonprofit established to support the Axelar Network, which is the underlying technology behind Midas XRP, or MXRP. That's a yield-bearing liquid staking token for the XRP ecosystem. Now, we'll talk more about that in just a bit, but first, let's focus on markets. As of noon, major cryptocurrencies are seeing modest gains, with Bitcoin trading around $109,000. And yesterday, digital currencies gave back the gains they made earlier in the week. So what do you think are some of the catalysts driving crypto prices right now?
Well, 10 days ago, on Friday, October 10th, we had the single biggest liquidation event in the history of crypto, right? An industry that's almost 20 years old at this point. So it was a massive event. A lot of people lost money. Probably we're seeing a lot of the after effects. People are trying to liquidate positions to cover losses in other places. My personal guess is that this is going to continue for the next coming weeks or months. I don't expect a speedy recovery from here, but long-term it's healthy for the market because you're flashing out a lot of high leveraged positions. You also have an opportunity. This is an opportunity for high conviction people to buy more tokens, right? So it's going to be a transfer of wealth from high risk tolerant people to long-term hodlers. So right now, probably I don't expect much upside in the next few months, but for the years to come, this is actually very healthy because it's transferring funds into higher conviction holders that just want to hold long-term.
Expanding on what you just mentioned, over that 24-hour period that began on October 10th, the crypto industry experienced one of its worst days ever. CNBC reported that more than 1.6 million traders suffered a combined 19.37 billion wipeout of leveraged positions over that period, which is the largest ever liquidation event tracked by crypto-focused data analytics firm CoinGlass. Now, this marked a weak point for the crypto market, which otherwise experienced a strong year. CNBC reported that still the ripples are being felt more in smaller coins like XRP, Solana Sol token, and Dogecoin, which have been trading between 15 and 24% off their pre-liquidation crisis highs. Why do you think that is?
Well, prices just collapsed, right? I think XRP dropped something like 70% in the span of 30 minutes, which is unprecedented, right? So as I was mentioning earlier, we're just seeing the after effects now. A lot of people are just worried to buy because, maybe there's market makers that have been liquidated and now need to liquidate their full liquid crypto positions in order to not be underwater, right? So we're still seeing the after effects of the crash. I don't think people are comfortable buying in large quantities yet. Probably a bunch of people are still selling. If you look on Binance, there is some big seller right now of BTC that has been selling aggressively over the past few days. Once all this sell pressure clears, I think we're in for new all-time highs. But until then, it's kind of hard to estimate because probably someone blew up, but we don't know who they are. And we don't know how long they'll have to keep unwinding positions and causing this on the market.
Focusing on XRP, since you are closely tied to that specific token, in July, XRP hit a new all-time high of $3.65. What do you think was behind the move, and what would it take for XRP to surpass that record?
Well, XRP, for one, is the only idle asset in the space, right? It's one of the very few assets and by far the biggest asset that has no native yield. So actually, the fact that it hit such high prices is impressive in and of itself, right? It's by far the highest idle asset to hit this market cap, which also provides an opportunity. But, XRP, the whole ecosystem has a lot of support. Obviously, there is Ripple, which is a separate entity, but it's a core driving force behind the ecosystem. They are literally acquiring some of the biggest startups in finance. They're building an empire. And they have a lot of firepower to keep acquiring companies and build out their stack. Their stack is leveraging the XRPL, which is the underlying technology that powers XRP. So I think a lot of this drive is just driven by everything that Ripple is doing. They have a lot in the works, building a lot of new products, building a full stack solution with all the different companies they're acquiring. And I think people are just expecting that they're going to bring a lot of value back to the XRP and to the XRPL, right? So in my mind, that's a very key part of that. Just having Ripple as part of the ecosystem, I think would be a booster for any token and particularly for XRP.
Now, going back to MXRP, can you take us through how this liquid staking token works and what are some of the benefits for holders?
Well, the benefit is simple. XRP has existed for about 10 years. There is no simple way for users to earn yield on XRP, right? You can go to Solana, you can stake your Sol, you can earn 7%. On ETH, you can stake your ETH, you can earn 2-3%. On XRP, you could never generate yield on top of it, right? And this is actually a shame because it is one of the highest, the most liquid assets in the space, but there is no way, historically, there has been no way to take this value and convert it into yield. So it's very impressive that XRP has grown so much despite this inherent opportunity cost that you assume for holding XRP. And we're looking to change that. So we launched this initiative to bring more value to the XRPL. One of the first products that launched on top of our platform was MXRP. And it is the first on-chain asset that allowed users to earn 10% yield on their XRP. So by passively holding XRP over a year, of course, there are risks involved. You can earn 10% on your XRP. And XRP holders love their XRP. They don't like to sell it. So if you hold for 6-7 years into MXRP, you will end up with twice as much money as you would otherwise, right? Assuming, of course, like the returns continue over the years. So it's a very simple value proposition. And we need more of these products in order to onboard the world on chain. Because if you have assets that you cannot use productively, you cannot earn yield on, people will just much rather hold dollars and other currencies, right? So you need a good reason for people to come on chain and also hold their dollars on chain. I think yield is going to be the key driver for this kind of movement.
Okay, that's all for Crypto World today. We'll be back again tomorrow, and we'll see you then.